those 7 dimensions that you should rate, that you should have on your quality form. As I said, that there are 7 dimensions that we believe you should have. Now, the first dimension, and this is all basis industry inputs. This is not Sachin Manan saying, this is not Transmon saying. This is our understanding of how different industry verticals are currently operating. What we are essentially saying is that instead of having just 1 score per audit, you should have minimum of 3, maximum of 7. Now, what are those 7? The first thing first, resolution quality must always be rated only from customer perspective. We have already covered this part in great length, and I'm not going to spend time on this, but resolution quality must be 1 quality score for each audit. Now, what is the second one? Now, the second is documentation quality. Many of you would already say, or maybe already saying that, this is something that you already have on your quality form. I am not saying that you don't have documentation related parameters on the quality form. I'm saying that instead of 1 quality score per transaction, you must publish 7 scores. And what are those 7 dimensions, or what are those 7 scores? The first is resolution quality, second is documentation quality. Then a very, very important metric that I usually do not see on a CX form, on an inbound customer service form. Not just that you should have revenue related quality on a sales form, not just that you should have revenue related quality on a collections form, but you should also have it on your customer service inbound email chat form as well. Why is it so? Increasingly, what we have seen is that every customer service agent is supposed to either pass waivers or upsell, upgrade, downgrade, try to retain a customer. And how are you measuring it, that whether the person is effective in retaining a customer? I'll give you one example. I was working for a telecom client, and one of their major problem statement was that a lot of customers are coming. They are currently on, let's say, a 499 rupee plan. They come and they say that I would want a lower plan, and the agents straight away are saying that, okay, we have a 199 plan as well. But between 199 and 499, there are 3 other plans. Now, as a quality auditor, you must have some parameter on your quality form through which you can supply information to the business, telling business that your agents are downgrading to the lowest level and not even trying to downgrade in a step-by-step fashion. Usually, we have seen that these kind of parameters are not there on the form. I've just given you one example. I'm sure that each one of you can relate to multiple such examples in your ecosystem, in your environment. And hence, I'm saying revenue-related quality is the third quality score that you must have on your per transaction. Obviously, conversation quality is one. This goes without saying. You would want to know that what's the quality of conversation that people are having. Another very important bit that I see missing in most quality forms. Every organization that I work with, when I ask them that, what is your major problem statement? What is it that they say? They say that my biggest problem statement is my FCR rates are low, my repeat is high. And then when I say that, do you have app promotion quality score? Do you publish app promotion quality scores? And I find out that no, they don't. And what I know, and I'm sure that you also know, is that 70% of the overall transactions or overall call volume or overall email volume, transaction volume that hits a center, 70% of that is actually Journal 57 queries. And all those queries, all organizations claim that they can solve it through their apps. But still customer end up actually reaching your customer service center. I believe that if you will have app promotion quality also as a dimension on your quality form, it is going to be a big input to your business, telling them that, what is the quality of app promotion that your agents are doing. And this will have a direct impact on your repeat rates. And I can actually bet my money on this. We must have it. Moving forward, the next one that I would want, handling efficiency. Everybody wants to improve their response time. Everybody wants to reduce their idle time. Everybody would want their hold times to reduce, irrespective of the channel of communication. Well, there are very less forms that I have seen which actually have parameters dedicated to handling efficiency and which have a score per transaction with respect to handling efficiency. And I propose, this might sound a little radical, but this is something that each quality auditor must invest time on and refine your quality forms. Then obviously there is a zero tolerance or a compliance quality document that you must have. Now, one thing, this is something that you are going to get as a material post this session, but let me just open it and show it to you. Now we are getting into how would you want to create your audit forms. What I have seen is that whenever any organization gets into this exercise of creating an audit form, it is, let's say, a quality manager or maybe a quality senior manager that decides that these are the 10-20 parameters that they would want to use. And then once these 20 parameters are listed, there is a small discussion or a small talk that happens on those parameters. Everybody says yes, okay, yes, this is okay, and then the form is rolled out. What we believe, the structured approach to create an audit form is that the first thing that all of you should do is that you should conduct analysis of your CSAT data, and not just your senior managers. The task has to be done in such a way that each, let's say all 10 quality auditors that are part of a project, give them CSAT data, let them study this CSAT data, decide the key drivers of customer experience. That is step one. Why is it step one? Because we want to create a quality form which is going to be, talking everything from customer's perspective. And because we want to bring in customer's perspective, hence it is extremely important that we go back and we check what is it that our customers are saying. What better way to do it than looking at your CSAT data or your NPS data? That is step one. Now, what is step two? Once you have collected it, then you give task to all quality auditors in your team that please go, basis the inputs that you have received from CSAT, basis your internal requirements. So number one, CSAT inputs. Number two, whatever is the internal process requirement, list down everything and then categorize the entire list into multiple domains, or let's say categorize into logical dimensions. Whether it is domain, dimension, this is just wordplay at the end of it. What we are essentially saying is that instead of one quality score, we'll be talking about 3 minimum or 7 maximum quality scores per transaction. So divide it into that. Then comes the next very, very important bit. And in order to explain this, the technique is actually paired comparison analysis. In order to explain this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open up this Excel sheet and do the talking through this Excel sheet. Now, what is it that I've done here? Siddharth, I need a quick confirmation whether this Excel sheet is visible to you.
Yes, it is.
Brilliant. Okay. All right. Now, what is it that I'm going to do on this Excel sheet? Or what is it that I've done? So step one. Let's say there are 9 parameters that all of you have finalized. So some wrote down 5, the other wrote down 3, some wrote down all 9, and unique count is 9. So you place all those 9 parameters in rows and you place 9 parameters in parameter. In row, in row and in column, you write down these 9 parameters. This is your step 1. Your step 2 is going to be that you decide your rating key. Now, what is this rating key? Now, what I'm essentially saying is that compare parameter 1 against parameter 2. Talk about it and ask that, okay, what do you think? Whether parameter 2 is more important than parameter 1? Or is it that both are equally important? Or is it that parameter 2 is far, far more important than parameter 1? Now, let me just give you an example. Let's just say that there are 2 parameters. Parameter 1, number 1, is that agent did not say good morning at the start of the call. I'm not saying that it is not important, but I'm just giving one example. So agent did not say good morning at the start of the call is one parameter. And your second parameter is agent did not tag the call properly. Okay. So let's say parameter 1 is agent did not say good morning, and parameter 2 is actually agent did not tag the call properly. Now let us just assume, or let us just agree that parameter 2 is far, far more important than parameter 1. Let's just agree that parameter 2, which is not tagging the call, is far, far more important than parameter 1. Then according to your rating key, and this is not a rating key this is not a Bible. I mean, like, obviously you can make changes to this rating key according to your requirements. But what is the rating key that I have made? I say that if one parameter is far, far more important than the other parameter, then the parameter which is far, far more important will get 9 score, and the parameter which is not important will get 0. So I'm saying if one parameter is far, far more important than the other, then the one which is important gets 9 score and the other gets 0. Now let's say if they are both equally important, then both parameters get 0. And that is which is my rule number 1. And let's say if they are both, let's say one is slightly more important than the other, which means that both are important, but looks like that one is a little more important than the other. Then you give that 3 score. Okay. Now what is it that we have done? We have taken 9 parameters in our rows, 9 parameters in our column, and we have started rating these. Now one important bit, come to step 2. One important bit is that you cannot compare parameter 1 to parameter 1. And hence I have marked it as yellow, which means that this box will not have anything coming in. Similarly, you cannot compare parameter 9 with parameter 9. It's the same parameter, and hence this is also yellow. So I am reducing my work. Of the, let's say, 20 different cells that I need to fill in, these are the cells that are not required to be filled. Moving on. In this plot, what I see is that so let's say this cell, the cell where my cursor currently is, what is this cell? This cell is saying compare P2, which is parameter 2, with parameter 1. But then I have already compared parameter 1 with parameter 2 in this cell, which means that I need not rate this cell again. And hence, what I have done here is that I've actually colored all those cells that are not even required to be rated. Just a reminder, what we are right now doing is nothing but following a simple technique of paired comparison. Maybe this is not a very good example, but paired comparison is something that all of us do. Between this and that, which is more important. Now, even on Dream 11, when we are actually making our teams, we have a list of players and we choose. And there is a comparison that we do between, 2, 3, 4 different players. In the same way, all we are doing here is that we are comparing. Now, each one of this, now this is step 4. And from here, it becomes a little complex. Slightly complex. Not that I'm saying that, we will not be able to understand this, but just pay a little attention to this. What are we doing here? So Let's read this cell, the first cell where I'm pointing. I'm saying 0p1, 0p2. Now all of us already know that 0p1, 0p2 essentially means that both are equally important. Now what are we saying here? 3p1, right? 3p1 essentially means that p1 is a little higher than p3 and hence 3. But when we say 9p1, what does this mean? It means that parameter 1 in comparison to parameter 4 is far, far more important. Now, once you fill the entire block, then all you have to do is add up all these frequencies, and that frequency becomes your denominator. Add up frequencies for each parameter, and that becomes your numerator. And then when you divide your numerator with your denominator, you get a weight, and that weight becomes the weight of that parameter. So instead of deciding weights of a quality sheet in a haphazard way, wherein one says isko 10% de do and the other says isko 3% de do, instead of that, the better way, the scientific way, is to do this paired comparison and then add up all frequencies one by each parameter, take the total of all the frequencies that are there, divide it, get a weight, assign that weight to the parameter. These are the 4 steps that we have completed. Let me just go to QA session and just check that is there. The second question, can you please let me, okay, so that's already done. Brilliant. Okay. All right. So again, just to reiterate, using paired comparison analysis, we decide that what is the weight that we have to give to each parameter. And believe you me, once you will do this exercise, and I would want you to actually go back, try this exercise. If you are struggling, well, I am promising you, I will give you time. We can get on a call and discuss this. But once you will give this, once you will decide on these weights, there will be very, very strange numbers that will come up. Some parameter will have a weight of, let's say, 7.75. Then obviously you can apply a little bit of logic and convert 7.75 to an 8, adjust it so that you make the entire stuff a little easier to calculate, etc. But this is how the entire quality form should be designed.